Hey, science seekers, welcome back to another episode. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your lessons. Today we have a very special episode. This is our second special of the year on COVID-19 and coronavirus. Our first episode highlighted the nurses and doctors and the great things they're doing, and we interviewed them. Now we have the Frost Spartans 8th grade science team. I'm going to have them introduce themselves real quick to you. And then I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to talk a little bit about what they're doing specifically with coronavirus as another special to highlight some of the heroes in our community. So go ahead, you three, let's hear who you are.
Sure. So my name is Ryan Christopoulos, and I teach 8th grade science and also in the Discovery program.
I am Dawn Zufanti. I teach 7th and 8th grade science and STEM 1.
Then I am Lexi Nash, and I teach 8th grade science.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So I know that some of the students have done problem-based learning before and some haven't maybe, or they might not even know they were doing it in their classes. And I think that's important for me, the parents and the kids and even our staff to know is we're in the middle in our 8th grade curriculum of doing a human impacts unit. All of us in the junior highs are. And your building, which intrigued me, is doing something with chronic. So can one of you guys tell me what exactly you're doing?
Yeah, so if I could just kind of backtrack a little bit here. So in the spring, we traditionally focus on human impacts in the environment. And so traditionally, we've done a project related to climate change and alternative energy. So how human evolution over time has maybe impacted the environment negatively, caused things like climate change, and some solutions for that as well. So the project traditionally has been students developing a solution for that issue. But looking at at this year, and obviously the unique historical situation that we're in, we decided to do something a little bit different. We looked at our standards and saw that they were pretty open in terms of what we could address with how humans have impacted the environment or vice versa. And so within that, we saw kind of a window where we could do something a little bit different and a little bit more timely as well. So the structure of the project is very similar, right? Students are looking at some data first, and then they're ultimately going to come up with maybe a solution or potentially some type of investigation related to the problem. But this time we're using COVID-19 as our topic instead. So where students have gone so far is they've come up with some driving questions, so things that they're interested in learning more about related to COVID-19 and the pandemic. They have started to do just some basic background research so that they learn kind of the who, what, where, when, why, how of COVID-19. And then starting this week and moving into next week, we'll be looking at some more specific data related to COVID-19, as well as how this compares historically to other pandemics that have happened in the past, with hopes of them finding a topic, a subtopic within this pandemic that they're really interested in, and then do a little bit of a deeper dive on that.
Have any of you guys had the guiding questions? Like they can form their own question and kind of take it from there, right? So have you seen, what are some examples of a couple questions that the kids had? I'm curious.
Sure. Yeah. So some of the topics that the kids are really interested in, obviously, is the rate of spread. So how quickly it's transmitting between people, how it transmits between people. And a lot of kids are really interested too in what the response is. So, how long it takes to get a vaccine. Can we use other medications potentially to cure it? Can some people be treated? Can some people not be treated? So kids are really curious in terms of, its rate of spread, but then also how we respond to it. Other kids are really interested in, how this compares historically. Some students are interested in response on a government level. So how we responded compared to other countries, or, are we doing enough? Are we not doing enough? So it's been pretty broad so far, which has been really interesting to see and really encouraging too. I don't know if Dawn and Lexi saw anything similar or different with their questions.
Yeah, some of mine are wanting to explore what will happen after this. Will people have built up an immunity somehow? Or, could this ever happen again in the near future? Because I think they're getting a little stir crazy and they want to know, are we going to be quarantined again sometime soon? So a lot of mine are looking past this, what's happening right now, and thinking about what might happen in the future.
Yeah, I would also say too, I found one of my periods was very interested on the benefits of the COVID-19. And so some of the outcomes and how this could possibly be a good thing for us. So I'm kind of interested to see how those kids kind of take the information and run with it that way.
That's awesome. And as I mentioned earlier, I mean, you guys certainly are being heroes in regards to keeping these kids engaged and intrigued and obviously sparking that curiosity of them wanting to know more. How do you help them, like, with so many, I mean, that sounds so overwhelming. Like, how do you help each kid individually with these different kind of questions that they're trying to seek answers to?
Sure. Well, just to address the point you had previously, our whole purpose of doing this project was, I think a lot of kids are probably sitting at home right now. Maybe some kids are seeking out answers themselves. Maybe others are just, going on hearsay or what they might hear or see on the news, their phones, devices, whatever. And so we really wanted to create an outlet for kids to explore this topic academically, do some critical thinking with it as well. And really approach it maybe more with a level head than some of the different things you might hear or see in the media.
Cool.
Yeah. But to address your question, how we're actually addressing their questions too, we haven't quite started the actual project yet. So starting actually, I believe it's this week, kids will start deciding like what topics they might be interested in. And then as we explore some of the data related to COVID-19 more specifically, by the end of next week, the goal is for them to actually have a topic. And then from there, we can kind of help them individually sort of craft what that project can look like around it.
So when you keep saying project, like what is what does that mean? Like,
yeah, that's a really good question.
And then I'm sure our viewers and I both want to know, and you guys.
Yeah, right. So, you're obviously, if there's any teachers watching, many of us are very familiar with problem or project-based learning, and one of like the kernels of it is that things are open-ended and things are student-driven. That being said, right, we do have kind of a menu of choices that kids can do with their topic if they wanted to. At sort of like the base level, they could create a traditional slides or Prezi type presentation on this was my topic or this was my question. This is what I found. Here's what I learned as a result of it. But we're also offering more creative things too. Podcasting or interviewing would be an option. So similar to what we're doing here, I'm sure a lot of our students have connections with various people that are being affected by this. And so giving them an opportunity to, now that they've learned something about it, to actually talk to somebody about it too, much like what we're doing here. They could potentially create a public service announcement related to hygiene or how we can manage or take care of our communities. So you're really kind of leaving it open-ended. And again, as we kind of explore this more too, and we see more of their questions, their topics they've come up with, kind of guiding them into what the best product would be as a result of their questioning.
Cool. All right, cool. And is there, a central, like if I wanted to find some information or see some of the cool stuff your kids are putting out, is there a way we could do that? Share it?
Sure. Yeah. So we've talked right now, the way that the kids are going to be sharing their projects, at least with each other, is through a Padlet. Depending upon what they produce as a result of it, we might, allow for some type of public posting of it, but we really haven't gotten that far yet.
Sure.
This being the first year and us kind of putting this together like the last couple of weeks or so. We are kind of feeling it out a little bit here, but again, really excited, really curious to see what the kids come up with, and really encouraged by the questions and some of the research that they've already done.
All right, and I guess that leads me to my final question that I have is, what's out of your experience so far? We're trying to keep that positive light and look at the positive pieces of this. What's been the most motivational, or what is by far the thing that you are going to remember and take from this experience so far in being home and helping out your kids?
Yeah, for me at least, I think it's giving the kids an opportunity to look at this with maybe a clearer head, a more level head, a more scientific perspective, and really get some answers to it as well. Just from my own personal experience, whether I'm watching the news or I'm reading an article on my phone or I'm listening to the radio, I'm getting a variety of opinions and really a lot of conflicting information too about how it's transmitted, how it's not, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And so for me, personally, I've just wanted to try to find more answers myself. And I would assume that, a kid sitting at home is probably in a similar state. So we just wanted to create that opportunity for them to research it and to hopefully gain some more information and some more insight on it too. Donna, Alexi, what are you hoping to get out of it?
I was going to switch it over to Miss Nash, and then Miss
Savante
can wrap it up for me.
Go ahead.
No, I totally agree with Mr. Christopoulos. I think kind of at the end of the day, I'm like really more or less excited to see what these kids are producing. I think just allowing them to have that open end of presenting their own way, like whether that be an iMovie, a journal entry, a podcast, an interview, making it more relatable to them. And if they can be related to their topic and their research, then I think that they're going to be drawn into that and have some like a better outcome. So I'm excited to see that and what that looks like.
Cool.
And for me, I think the best thing about it is the benefit of time, because when we have obviously regular school, you know, periods are 35, 40 minutes long, and it's always like rush, 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 try to get finished. But I think now that they have a lot of time on their hands, I think some kids will take that opportunity to really dig deeply, and, you know, the sky's the limit for what they want to learn. So I'm excited to see what they come up with as well.
Well, that's about wraps it up for today's episode. Kids, go ahead and do a great job with your lessons today. I know you always do. And thanks for tuning into our COVID-19 special. We'll see you tomorrow.